Yes, the relay on YouTube. Check it out. Lots of stories about me on there. All the boxing facts and info that you want in a very entertaining, educational manner. The relay. Check it out on YouTube.
Welcome to the motherfucking relay where we're covering today's top boxing news.
Okay, and now it's time for our weekend recap. People over there at Matchroom and DAZN kicked off what is the second season of the Fight Camp series, and I have to say I did enjoy it. I was disappointed that Conor Benn contracted the COVID-19 virus and was unable to make an appearance against Adrian Granados. And
it'll get rescheduled.
We'll get the fight eventually, but I was looking forward to seeing it this weekend. And
overall, still an entertaining card.
Especially to an American fight fan who's looking for something to watch on a Saturday afternoon. Context is key. Maybe these weren't big primetime fights, but if you're an American fight fan at around 2, 3, 4 in the afternoon,
this'll do.
This wasn't bad. This wasn't half bad at all. We saw Rico Mueller go about 8 rounds with Anthony Fowler, who, I'll admit, he didn't blow me away with his performance, but he did manage to land an 8-round TKO stoppage, advancing to a professional record. 15 wins, 1 loss, 12 knockouts, never been stopped. Setting up a big fall showdown with his countryman, Liam Beefy Smith. That's a mouth-watering fight. And we're going to be talking about that.
Sink or swim situation for Anthony.
There's reason enough to question his level. There's reason enough to believe that Liam Beefy Smith should get the edge because comparatively, Liam's been in there with a far better caliber fighter, far better quality of competition. And even if it didn't always go Liam Smith's way, those are still experiences that he brings to the table that Anthony does not. Liam's been in there with the Canelo Alvarez's of the world, the Jaime Munguias, the Liam Williamses.
2 times.
Lost a rather controversial decision to Russia's own Magomed Kurbanov in his last fight. A lot of people feel that Liam Smith should have got the nod. Liam Smith should have won the fight. Liam Smith should have got the decision, and he didn't. And these are the experiences that young Liam brings to the table. You have to understand there are levels to the game, and you derive more experience losing to a Canelo Alvarez and losing to a Jaime Munguia than what you get beating a Rico Mueller.
Over Jorge Fortea.
This is a step-up fight for Anthony Fowler. That's what it is. And on the heels of that performance against Rico Mueller, which didn't blow me away, you have to wonder if he's ready for it, or is it one of those situations where, you know what, he's about as ready as he's gonna be.
It's now or never.
I really like this fight because it's in keeping with the decorum. You know, Liam lost that controversial decision to Kurbanov. He needs to get back in the winner's bracket. He can do that with Anthony, but at the same time, Anthony...
He's 30 years old.
It's time for a step up in competition for Anthony, who's got about, 16 professional fights under his belt so far. This is a necessary evil, a necessary step up in competition.
Can he go to that next level?
Can he go all the way? Well, he's got to go through Liam Beefy Smith to find out October 9th, and I am very much looking forward to that. And when it comes to the Chris Billum Smith versus Tommy McCarthy fight, I take CBS for what he is.
He's a fun guy.
Very entertaining, albeit flawed fighter. I've never seen Chris Billum Smith in a boring fight, and this one didn't disappoint. Ebbs and flows, moments of success for both guys, but looking at it, Chris always seemed the busier fighter to me.
He seemed busier throughout.
The best way to describe this fight is a fight where the rounds themselves are close, but Chris Billum Smith is piling up more of them. It's not that Tommy McCarthy isn't making him work for it so much as Tommy is falling just short of the mark.
That's the best way to describe it.
My scorecard, once the 12th round was over, was about 7 rounds to 5 in favor of CBS, in favor of Chris Billum Smith, with Tommy McCarthy having picked up the 11th and 12th rounds. Like I said, it was a tight fight, but Tommy fell just short of the mark.
Thoroughly entertaining fight.
Tight fight, but I think the right man won. I think Chris Billum Smith did enough to get that decision. Because with Chris, which sees what you get, a very entertaining, albeit flawed fighter. Performances that actually stood out to me, at least one of them, was the professional debut of none other than Sandy Ryan, who debuted as a professional in the same card against Kristy Babington, a veteran of 7 professional fights, to Sandy's none. That's right, Sandy had no fights. This was a pro debut. And Sandy definitely looked the part. Here's why. Kristy Babington employed a very similar strategy to what we saw in the Dora Norek versus Shannon Courtenay fight. Essentially, what Kristy was trying to do was smother Sandy Ryan's work, collapse the pocket, crowd her, and don't give her any room to throw. And Sandy Ryan in the first round, towards the end of it, gained control of the situation and maintained control throughout by sticking and moving, landing hard shots. We saw a bit of switch hitting from Sandy, from orthodox to southpaw. We saw Sandy get off some very hard shots, some very telling blows, and you got the sense that if this weren't a 6-rounder, if this were an 8-rounder or a 10-rounder, Sandy wouldn't have just beat Kristy Babington. She would have stopped Kristy Babington.
And this was the first fight on the card.
Sandy Ryan's professional debut, which took place in the super lightweight division. At least it was billed as such. It was billed as a junior welterweight contest.
Even though both girls weighed in at above the junior welterweight limit.
The junior welterweight limit is 140 pounds, whereas both Sandy and Kristy weighed in at about 144 pounds each. I anticipate that Sandy Ryan, moving forward, will eventually cut the floor and campaign within the junior welterweight limit, 140 pounds. Not an easy division to campaign in. At 140 pounds, Chantel Cameron holds the WBC title. Mary McGee holds the IBF and very soon could hold the WBO title as well. And Kaylee Reese holds the WBA title.
No world titles of opportunity at 140 pounds.
Sandy Ryan is going to have some very stiff competition on her road to becoming a world champion if she is set to campaign at 140 pounds. At 147, it's no different. She'd have to go through the reigning undisputed welterweight champion of Chi-Town, Jessica McCaskill. That is assuming that Jessica McCaskill can hang on to all those belts for all that time. The amount of time it's going to take Sandy to position herself for a title shot, which I don't think is in the immediate future. A lot can happen in the sport of boxing, and by the time Sandy's ready to fight for a title, who knows what Jessica might be doing, or all of the other world champions at 140 pounds. It's anybody's guess, though. As far as making a splash and leaving an impression, Sandy Ryan has effectively done that with her win over Kristy Babington. Congratulations to her. That was a performance that left an impression. And finally, what became the main event of that same card in the wake of Conor Benn testing positive for COVID-19, Leigh Wood versus Can Xu. Another performance that really stood out. Career best for Leigh Wood, who lost one to Gavin McDonnell in 2014. He was stopped in 6 rounds. He lost another one to Jazza Dickens, who's going to be in action very soon against Kid Galahad
For the IBF title.
Leigh lost a majority decision to Jazza Dickens earlier this year in February, and you know, a lot has happened since then. A lot has changed, and some things for the better. In the case of Leigh Wood, a sensational exhibition of boxing with several factors that contribute to the fight's outcome and his overall victory. I want to say that Leigh Wood exhibited control of this match from the opening bell to the final one, maintaining distance and controlling Can Xu with that lead hand to set up big shots.
It was the right strategy.
You can't take that away from Leigh Wood. Can Xu is a volume puncher, after all, and in order to get a guy like that to simmer down, hell, in order to neutralize him so you don't have to get him to simmer down, you got to maintain distance and stay behind a stiff stick, a stiff jab.
A judicious one.
An ever-present jab that'll keep the man opposite the ring in a high guard throughout. Can Xu did his best to try to play catch and shoot with Leigh Wood, and it was to no avail because shooting those singles, it didn't get him anywhere. It was very uncharacteristic of Can Xu to not throw more, because that is what we were expecting ahead of this match. We expected Can Xu to be the volume puncher that he is, and that's not what he was. Perhaps having not fought since November of 2019 has something to do with that.
You see, I don't want to be a spoil sport.
I really don't want to rain on anybody's parade or denigrate anyone's victory, but you're not going to tell me that 2 years of inactivity doesn't have something to do with what we saw yesterday in the Fight Camp Series. Can Xu had not fought since November of 2019. That's roughly
2 years of inactivity.
You don't think 2 years of inactivity might have contributed something to yesterday's fight, something to Can Xu's performance or inability to perform, the lack thereof? You don't think 2 years of not fighting had something to do with what you saw? Well, I hate to break the news to you, but Leigh Wood looked great. I don't take that away from him. And I do think that he employed the right strategy against a volume puncher like Can Xu. You want to disarm him before he gets anything going. You want to get his respect so he hesitates to throw. And I do think that Leigh Wood did that. But I also think that Can Xu's
The guy had ring rust.
2 years away from the ring will affect almost anybody. Timing, conditioning, how you feel when the punches land, how you feel when you get hit, because Leigh Wood was so obviously the bigger puncher in this fight. Even when he wasn't landing clean, even when Can Xu was blocking those shots from Lee Wood. You could see that there's a lot of mustard on those shots. Thudding blows landing on the arms and landing on the gloves of Kansu, who was struggling to get anything going. I don't want to denigrate Lee Wood's victory. I just want to characterize it, surmise it. And a part of that victory, at least to me, is that Kansu hadn't fought in a very long time.
Lee Wood fought the right fight.
And I do give him credit for that. He fought the right fight in order to disarm a volume puncher. Use your jab, use it often to keep the other guy's guns holstered while you set up the big punches, the big shots, the big uppercuts.
Lee definitely fought the right fight.
And he put a stamp on it with that late knockdown of Kansu in the 12th and final round, moving on to subsequently stop Kansu, which I don't think a lot of people expected. So it is a career best win for Lee Wood. You could argue it's a career best performance, but it's not without its outlying factors. It's not without its intangibles.
Inactivity was one of them.
I think Lee Wood fought the perfect fight, perfect strategy under these circumstances. Lee Wood, who is a veteran of 27 professional contests, 27 professional bouts with 15 knockouts to Kansu's 3. That's right. Kansu was never a very big puncher to begin with. He's only got 3 recorded knockouts in
3 knockouts in 21 professional fights.
Kansu, much like Josh Warrington, is a volume puncher, yes, but he's not a big puncher. He doesn't have much pop. So what do you think happens to a volume puncher that sits on the shelf for 2 years? And with that, Lee Wood has become this division's WBA regular champion, emphasis on regular, because the reigning full-fledged WBA champion at this weight still is Leo Santa Cruz. That's right. At featherweight, he still holds the full version of the title, even though he hasn't fought there in a little over 2 years.
WBA is going to WBA.
That's what they do, and my final thoughts on Lee Wood's big win over Kansu is, yes, it's a career best win, and Lee Wood was in rare form, but it wasn't without its outlying factors.
I've no reason to overlook them.
I've no horse in the race, no pony in the show. Credit to Lee Wood for the performance that he put on. Credit for Ben Davison for helping him to prepare for this fight.
Hey, both did the job.
A seasoned boxing fan like myself seldom ever looks at things through rose-tinted lenses. Entertaining fight overall. Unexpected outcome. Could there be a second fight? That's a genuine possibility. And if there is, I'll tune in. And finally, Mike Coppinger tweeted, PBC balked at paying Alvarez $40 million guaranteed for replacement opponent on September 18th in the event that Plant was unable to fight, instead wishing to reschedule. PBC thought they had a deal before that late request. And, I saw this tweet, clicked the article, and noticed that this is the same article from 3 or 4 days ago on the 27th.
The tweet's from today.
Earlier today. But the article itself, well, this is the same article that Mike Coppinger published by way of ESPN on the 27th, 3 days ago. And I thought to myself, why is Mike...
I thought it was a new article.
With new quotes and new bits and pieces of information, what exactly led to the fight's collapse? That was my initial impression. But when I clicked on the article, I noticed it's the same article that I already read.
Except now Mike's saying that the PBC balked.
They balked at paying Alvarez $40 million guaranteed for a replacement opponent. And I thought to myself, in all my wisdom, I says, what if this is Mike running interference for the PBC? I wouldn't rule that out because this article's the same article we read 3 days ago. And
if you wanted to make Canelo Alvarez sound unreasonable,
make him look that way, this is what you'd go with. I want to make it clear that I think that this is just one of several contributing factors that contributed to this fight's collapse. I do think this was one among them, but
it's not the only one.
The PBC not guaranteeing Canelo Alvarez $40 million up front in the event that something happens to Caleb Plant, if he's injured in camp or he falls ill due to COVID.
Which has been happening a lot lately.
It happened to Michaela Mayer several months ago. It happened to Jamel Herring. It very recently happened to Conor Benn, reportedly. It also happened to Tyson Fury, but nobody really believes that.
Nah.
And Canelo Alvarez, he wants his money up front.
Does that make him unreasonable?
Is that an unreasonable request?
There's a proverb that I always use for that. There's a proverb in there that adequately surmises this entire situation in one sentence. A bird in the hand is worth 2 in the bush.
Yeah.
You don't know what's in the bush. What if it ain't no birds in the bush? You got a bird in your hand though, right? You know that because you got it in your hand. You fucking around with that bush. What if it ain't a bird in there? What if it's a snake in there? Or a mongoose? You know what I mean? That's this situation. Canelo knows I got guaranteed cash, foreign arms of revenue on the zone. With y'all, with your maybe money and if money and pretend money. No. I need my money up front. I'm not Jermall Charlo. I'm not Caleb Plant. I need mines up front because they give me mines up front. Y'all talking about some maybe and some if. No. I don't got time for that.
If we're going to look at this as a contributing factor that led to the fight's collapse, okay, let's look at it. If Canelo would have accepted that deal the way that it would have left room for Caleb Plant to somehow fall ill, maybe he gets hurt, and suddenly Canelo Alvarez's guaranteed purse is affected by Caleb Plant's situation, where it should not be.
It's not Canelo's problem.
If this was a contributing factor to the fight's collapse, it's because the PBC and Fox would not provide Canelo Alvarez assurance that he's going to get his purse regardless of what happens, so long as he keeps up his end of the bargain.
Guarantee means guarantee.
You're not providing him that assurance. You're not providing him that guarantee that he'll get his $40 million so long as he keeps up his end of the bargain. His end of the bargain seems to be contingent upon what happens with Caleb. And if Caleb gets hurt and someone else has to fill in,
He don't get the same money.
and what? He'd have to fight on your platform, not just once, but twice. He'd have to fight on your platform 2 times. Once against the stand-in opponent, and then again with Caleb Plant. Who says he wants to be in bed with you guys for 2 fights?
That's convenient.
You know, if you leave the door open on something like that, it can be used against you. Caleb mysteriously gets hurt somehow. He can't fight. Suddenly you're stuck with an Anthony Durrell or somebody like that. For less money, by the way.
Stuck on PBC's Isolation Island.
Then you'd have to be with them for 2 fights in order to do the business you hope to do in just 1.
That might work out well for the PBC.
Who hope to use Canelo Alvarez's marquee value, Canelo Alvarez's celebrity, to make their otherwise uninteresting stable of fighters interesting.
Deliver big pay-per-views to the higher-ups at Fox.
More than just one of them, which we know has been the game plan all along, ever since the PBC jumped into bed with Fox. They want to stage 5 pay-per-views annually.
They want Canelo Alvarez to be a part of that picture.
They want Canelo Alvarez to be the one to help them sell those pay-per-views, because nobody can guarantee them success the same way that Canelo Alvarez can. So if we're going to look at this as a contributing factor that contributed to the fight's collapse, well, it's simple, really. Canelo was right to stick to his guns and stand on his square, because he gets the assurances from DAZN that the people over there at the PBC and Fox were not willing to provide. Canelo's going to get paid the way he wants to get paid.
You can either deliver him that or you can't.
DAZN can do the same fight with the same 2 fighters, the same way that the PBC and Fox can. And DAZN offered to do the fight, so I guess Caleb Plant doesn't want it bad enough to cross the street. He doesn't want to cross the street for the cash cow of boxing.
Jose Ramirez crossed the street for Mighty Mo Hooker.
Not Caleb Plant. No, he's too good to cross the street.
He's too good to cross the street for Canelo.
Well, okay, it's your loss.